call this special city council meeting to order. Invocation by Alderman Mr. Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Let's pray. Lord, we love you, thank you, praise you for who you are and what you are in our lives. We thank you for giving us the opportunity to serve the constituents of this community. We just pray for wisdom and knowledge as we make decisions that affect our community, and we just pray for all of those that are affected by each and every decision. We thank you for, again, God, just for being with us tonight. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Larry Bud.
Here.
Sean Burdell.
Here. Here.
Rich Smith.
Here.
Lee Landzadi.
Here.
Jim
Here.
Olive. Martin Boda. Earl Walters.
Here.
All aldermen are present except Alderman Voda. First thing on the agenda, discussion regarding proposed tax increment financial district agreement by and between the city of Taylorville and Golden Real Estate Holdings of Illinois, LLC, and Shelbyville Properties, LLC, and any motions relating thereto. Okay, open up the discussion with City Attorney, Mr. Romano.
Gentlemen, I've given you a copy of the proposed redevelopment agreement, and let me say, as you know, the developers have already signed the agreement. I've also been provided with a copy of the resolution that authorized their signatures and authorized both LLCs to enter into the agreement. This is pretty close to what you saw a couple of meetings ago, and with the addition of a new developer is being added to this, and that's Shelbyville Properties LLC. That's going to be the second developer for this particular project. If you recall, one of the things that I think you folks had some concerns about was the clause that was initially put in there on page 6 of your prior draft that essentially said that the developer, if in fact he would agree not to contest the equalized assessed valuation of the property, for which that's what determines how much money comes into the TIF money. If it would result in anything less than $100,000 of money coming in from the real estate tax increment, that we wanted the agreement to be terminated.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
While you're at it. Are we talking only about the Steak and Shake property at the present
No,
moment?
we're only, Steak and Shake, we're not gonna be, there's no agreement for Steak and Shake this evening.
Okay, so this is the other
This is
property, and you're
HSHS.
talking about the paragraph 8 that we
Yes.
discussed?
That is correct.
Okay, I want to make sure, okay.
The mayor, Alderman Bud, and myself, and Mr. Klein, we've had several conversations with the developer representative and their attorney, who's also here in the audience. And one of the developers is on the phone listening, so if you have any questions that you want to pose to him, we can put the phone on speaker and you can ask the questions directly. But in the conversations that we had, we learned what we thought were valid concerns of the developer, in that he's explained to us that he has a 10-year lease right now. And there's no guarantee to him that that 10-year lease will be renewed. I mean, you would hope that it would, but he couldn't guarantee it. And the second thing is, he had some concerns about taking away the right of the tenant to be able to object to real estate taxes or have the real estate evaluation lowered. So what we came up with was a compromise proposal that essentially says, look, if you want us to modify that language, you have to give us something in return. This was Larry Bud's suggestion, so I'm going to give him some praise and some kudos for this. If you recall, the original agreement provided for 70%, the original agreement provided he's going to put in the sewer line, and it is up to a $75,000 cost, and he will get paid that back directly from the first money's coming in for his outlay. So there's no money out from the city for putting in that sewer line. The original agreement then said for the next 10 years thereafter, the developer would receive 70% of the money, the city would receive 30% of the available net revenues after the school gets paid, administration costs are paid. And then it would go to 60% for the developer for the next 3 years, and then 50 years until the end of the project. As a matter of compromise, they have agreed to reduce that 70% to 60% for the entire 13-year period, which means that the city picks up for 10 years 10% more of the money. The agreement also provides that if at any point in time during the term of the agreement, that if the assessment, whether it's caused by the action of the tenant or the developer or the action of the county assessor, where the assessed valuation gets to be 50% less than what it is initially when the project is open, then the agreement's done. The city doesn't owe any more money to the developer, which means, of course, then if that project is still viable and ongoing, the city will end up getting 100% of the funds.
That's on page 6.
That's on page 6 of the new agreement. Right. And also now also, or if the property becomes tax exempt, then the city's obligation would stop. In order for the developer, as a request from the developer is that after 10 years, if he can terminate the agreement on his own and say, all right, I don't want to have any more reimbursement, and the agreement's over with. Now, as a practical matter, I mean, he's asking for, I passed out the chart to you, the eligible project cost, if everything goes the way the numbers that they put forth and they generate the assessed valuations as reported to Mr. Klein, there's $2,417,000 that they would hope to recover over the life of the 23-year period of the TIF. So as I said, as a practical matter, it's not in the developer's best interest to terminate the agreement after 10 years because they lose that money at the end. And if the assessment goes down 50%, you would think that the developer would do everything the developer could to prevent that from happening because they wouldn't get any more money. So I think at the end of the day, I think at least the three of us and Mr. Klein thought that was a fair compromise to get this project moving. They gave some, you gave some, and I think as far as Mr. Budd and the mayor, myself, and Mr. Klein, I think we're recommending that you folks go forward with this agreement as is, that it has been changed. We think it's a fair compromise. The other changes you've already looked at, that was changing from March to April when the developer has to drop dead each year to be able to turn in his cost. Adding in, they went ahead with our language about the hold harmless and indemnity, about the prevailing wage, that if for some reason you guys get tagged because they violated it, what have you, we take that from whatever their hold harmless and indemnity is secured by, we don't pay them until we get paid for that hold harmless and indemnity. So I think, and then they asked it that the sewer line go from 60,000 to 75, which really doesn't make any difference to us. If it costs 75, whatever the cost is, they're paying it, and they'll get paid back whatever it is, and they have to pay prevailing wage to get to that point. So, is there any questions thus far? Yes, sir.
As far as the sewer line, what brief discussions we had in council about it, are they going to be taking that all the way to the edge of their property so that someone else could be tapping onto that?
They will have to, according to the agreement, they have to put it, and I'm going to get you the page here for it. They have to prepare the sewer line according to our plans and specifications in our code. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe our city code says it goes from one end of the property to the other end, so that the next person who wants to tap on it can extend it. So.
Yeah, well, that's why I asked the question. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah. So let me see if I can find that here on you. Let's real quickly here. You go to page 5 under C1A, subparagraph. The developer shall construct said sanitary sewer line to city code specifications and furthermore shall dedicate said sanitary sewer line to the city upon completion thereof to the satisfaction of the city. In addition, the developer shall execute and deliver to the city any easement agreements in form as may be required of the city concerning that sanitary sewer line.
Okay.
So we have ordinances in effect that say it goes from one side to the next, and we've got all kinds of regulations about how a line's supposed to be put in, and so they'll have to follow that, and we're going to end up with the line once we're satisfied it's been constructed.
Okay, so if there are any tapping fees onto that sewer line at a later date, will those come back to the city?
Yeah, the only, I think.
Once they dedicate it to the city, then
It's the city's property.
Okay.
And I think if I go back here, I believe, and we didn't touch that part, I think the tapping fee for them was waived, I think, in your side.
Page 3.
Yeah.
Page 3,
Mhm.
as I recall. So, yeah, we're not gonna ask them to pay a tapping fee, let's see, where's that at? There you go.
All the way to the bottom, the second one up.
Yes, second whereas from the bottom,
Mhm.
page 3, city agrees to waive all applicable tap-on fees related to sanitary sewer, storm sewer, public sewer, and utilities necessary for construction of the
Yes.
project. So we're only waiving the fees to them
Yeah.
to construct it. If you allow others, after it's been dedicated to you to tap on, that's city's tap-on fees in my mind.
Okay. Well, it was mine too, just wanted to clarify.
I would ask it, since Attorney Henning is here, if she had any comments that,
No, it was just to waive it for our tapping fee,
Right.
is what I understood.
Right. Any other questions, gentlemen? Yes, sir.
On page 10, under cooperation of the parties, number 3, could you explain that?
This is language that Mr. Klein put in, I assume is what he puts in most of his agreements. Let me just quick look at it. The parties, the city and the developer are gonna reasonably cooperate with each other. I assume if you get gas, telephone, electric utility services, things like that, that, in my mind, that would mean that, you know, if we have any right of ways out there, we would work with them to let the utilities be put in our right of way.
We're not talking
And it's
about-
got the wetland
We're not talking about,
mitigation.
because it says wetland.
Wetland mitigation.
What I'm concerned about is that if the cooperation, does that mean just us cooperating physically, or is it cooperating monetarily?
We're not gonna put any money in wetland mitigation, I think it would be, you know, we have zoning laws and certain requirements as to how they build this, are gonna comply with your building regulations and your zoning regulations. And I assume there's gonna be something come up from your plan commission that's gonna say, you got this wetland or something, or what have you. But this is not, in my mind, mean that the city pays any compensation for
No,
that.
no.
It would be just to say, look,
Nothing monetary.
if you have to have wetland mitigation, we'll take a look at it and see if we can okay it or not okay it, or what's the best.
I was hoping that's what you said.
Is that your understanding too?
Yes.
Okay.
I had one question.
Yes, sir.
In the meetings that I've been involved in, I feel like I know a little bit about Tony Romano, but I don't know anything about this Jeffrey Pfeiffer. Who is he? What do we know about him?
I'll let Attorney Hennigan speak to that. I mean, this, as I understand, he's a doctor.
He's a doctor in Decatur. He's originally from Shelbyville.
Okay.
Not a contractor, I take it.
Not a contractor.
Okay.
Not at all.
He might have a few bucks in the project, that's what he might guess.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions, gentlemen? Yes,
I
sir.
would like to say though, that we are going to vacate 927.1 feet of right of way. This, for that road that's supposedly there that nobody really has claimed.
Yeah, and that's in here too, that was in the prior agreement, I can reiterate that. I think Nancy asked for the title company to do some searching, and apparently there was a old plat that was never, we could find anything of record that was ever dedicated to the city. And it's never been improved, but there is some plat of some years, I'm not even sure it was recorded.
Yeah, it was recorded in
Okay.
1941.
1941, so all we're gonna do is agree to vacate that. Because we never used it, didn't even know you had it. And like I said, I don't even know that we even, I don't think we own it, but it's not gonna hurt us to, vacate it. So they can put the project in its place. But thanks for bringing that up, Larry. And again, much thanks to Larry, because he was the leading force in his percentages, and we were able to persuade the developers to go along with it.
So I
Any
have
other questions
I
or
have one
comments?
other question.
Yes, sir.
So when we get this passed tonight, then what's the next step? Where do each side go from there? Do we start shoveling?
Probably the
dirt?
next step would be they will probably have a photo op with the shovel in the ground and start the project. They're ready to rock and roll from what I'm told by the developer and by Attorney Hannigan. They're ready to move. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or discussion? Any questions or discussion from the audience?
I just have a question.
All right.
The Shelbyville Properties LLC, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear from back here. Who is that?
It's the same two partners, it's Romano and Pfeiffer.
Okay. And they're new to the project? I mean, last time I was here and we were discussing this, I didn't hear that they were involved in it.
Pfeiffer's new.
Pfeiffer was not new, he also is a part owner of Golden.
Oh, was he?
So it's just two different entities, the second entity has been added.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
So I'm looking for a motion.
Make that motion? The motion will be to adopt the ordinance that you have in front of you. The mayor will vote on this ordinance as well.
Motion by Alderman Bud, second by Alderman Bertle. Roll call.
Larry Bud?
Yes.
Sean Burdell?
Yes.
Bernie Dorchenez?
No.
Pardon?
No.
Thank you. Bruce Jones?
No.
Lee Landzadi?
Can I pass right now?
No. No, you technically cannot.
You abstain.
I think I'll stay.
Jim Olive?
Yes.
Martin Bodas, absent. Earl Walters?
Yes.
Mayor Barry?
Yes. Motion passes 5-2.
Actually, with the abstention goes with the, yeah.
Okay.
So the abstention goes with the majority vote.
Motion
Yes.
passes 6-2. All right. Next one on the agenda is discussion regarding proposed tax increment financial district agreement by and between the city of Taylorville and Stoller Inc. Steak and Shake and any motions relating thereto. I don't think we've, got the,
Yeah, if I could just address that
Agreement back.
briefly, is that you've been all given a copy of a draft that Mr. Klein put together and submitted it about a week ago, I believe, to Dave Brewer, who's the representative of Stoller, which is the Steak and Shake project, to take to their attorney and get back to us with any comments or suggestions. So we have heard nothing since as of 5 o'clock today. I passed out the chart, but this one is a different little situation. Here again, though, they're gonna put in the road at their expense, about 300,000, I believe, has been the estimated cost, and according to your plans and specs. And then once it's completed, it'll be dedicated to the city will end up owning that. You folks will be putting in a sewer line to get to the property, but you're gonna get 100% reimbursed from that out of the first dollars that come in from the project. This agreement, when you read through it, also contemplates that you'll go forward with establishing a business district tax up to the full 1% that's allowed by law. We understand from Mr. Klein, it takes about a 90-day process. And if the chart will show you that in order for that developer to recoup the eligible project cost that they feel is necessary for them to move forward, they have to have 90% of that BDD tax. And then you see the developer's share of the tax increment that they're gonna be required to get there. So with nothing on to vote tonight, but if you see anything in that agreement that catches your eye that you're not happy with, let the mayor know, or myself, so that when it comes back, then Steve Klein can, take those comments and adjust the agreement accordingly. Do anybody have any questions about that proposal, as we said? Okay.
in all due respect to Steak and Shake, they just got this agreement, I think, last Wednesday.
Yeah, it hasn't been long.
And we don't even know who their attorney is, so.
Right. We invited them to get talk to their attorney, and we don't know, and we don't know
What
what his
we've heard is Bangors are gonna take the corn out in the middle of August, probably State Fairway. And so if they agree to this, we'll either have it on the August 6th council meeting or the August 20th. And they're planning to break ground probably September 1st, so we still got time with that.
This draft though is tentatively what we discussed the last meeting, right? So, and they kind of agreed with that,
Yeah.
kind of had time,
And
right?
actually, they're seeing it for the first time in writing,
Okay.
and it was just shipped, and.
But there's no big surprises in there that they weren't aware of from the either.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
No, in fact, I think it's verbally discussing it with Mr. Brewer and Mr. Klein over the phone, I think they were, Mr. Brewer was very happy with that proposal. He's not the one that's gonna sign the check.
Any other questions or comments? First insert subparagraph G of 5 ILCS 120/2.06. This portion of the city council meeting is reserved for any person wishing to address the council on any relevant subject matters concerning the city. The Illinois Open Meetings Act 5 ILCS 120/1 at C mandates no action shall be taken on subject matters not listed on the agenda, but the council may direct staff to address the topic or refer the subject matter to a future council and/or committee meeting. If anyone wishes to address the council, please provide your name and address. Limit your comments or presentation to 3 minutes and avoid repetitious comments. Thank you. Anyone out there? Don't see no one. Number 4. Motion for adjournment.
I'll take that motion.
Motion by Alderman Jones.
Second.
Second by Alderman Olive. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adjourn